Hi, welcome to the Watch and Whisper channel. I'm G Butterfly. And this year, 2022 Mother's Day, we're going to be have Miss Samantha who wants to tell her story, and she'll be up shortly to tell you her journey as a mother. Hi, so we're here with Samantha, and Samantha has agreed to be one of my interviewees for my 2022 Mother's Day interviews. I thought it was so important to talk to various women to hear their stories because, again, as I said earlier, we all have a story when it comes to being a mom. So, Miss Samantha, can you tell me where did you grow up?
I grew up here in the Houston area known as Northeast Houston in a subdivision called Cynicwood Plaza.
Cynicwood?
Cynicwood
Plaza.
Plaza.
Okay.
North side.
Okay, well, I'm quite sure there's going to be a lot of people that'll see this video who know about that area. All right, so how many children do you currently have?
I have two.
Two? Girl, boy, 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 girl, girl.
One girl, one boy.
One boy, okay. Are they children, are they young children, are they adults?
Young adults.
Young adults, okay.
Early 30s.
Okay, what are their ages? You said early 30s, but if you want to tell what their ages
are. Sure. Chas is my oldest, and Chas is 36. She just turned 36. Okay. And I have a son, Patrick, and Patrick is 34.
36 and 34, okay. So that's a good age because now I'm quite sure it's a little different parenting adults versus parenting little kids. And that's a question we're going to get to a little bit later.
Okay.
All right. So how old were you when you had your very first child?
When I had my first child, I was 20.
20? Okay. Do you feel like your age had an impact on how you were able to parent your child?
Yes. And I'm glad that I was still young enough where I had the patience because if I had to be a parent now, I don't think that would work very well. But I think that I was young enough to still be have the patience, the willingness to learn, and be able to grow with the kids.
Okay, so that was the impact, is that you were younger. So that, okay, pretty good. How did becoming a parent change you? Because I know whenever we become a parent, there's some type of change. So what change would you say happened in your life just by becoming a parent?
When you're young, you think about yourself. It's all about me. Mm-hmm. And everything was about me. And when I became a parent, somehow what I wanted was put on the back burner. Mm-hmm. And not in a resentful way. Okay. I mean, I just found myself always thinking about my children, mm-hmm. Things that I was afraid to do when it came to my children. In my life, everything was about my children. They came first. And as a parent, you always want your children to have more than what you had. I can agree. And my parents had the mark set a little high, so I had to go a little higher. Mm-hmm. And so making sure that I was active in their school life, mm-hmm. you know, their extracurricular activities, keeping them busy. You also want to make sure that they look cute, you know, so, yeah. So, you know, shopping and making sure that they look cute. But one of the things that I found that was the most challenging was, as a parent, I wanted to make sure that my kids were well-rounded. Okay, that's a question. We're going to come back to that. Put a pin on that because that's one of the questions. We're going to come back to that one a little bit later, and we can discuss that. What was the greatest parenting advice you received from your mom? Okay, my mom is full of opinions and advice, and for those who know Melva, you know she had plenty of advice. But the one thing that my mother told me was to never allow anybody or anything to separate me from my children. Okay, that's great advice. Great advice. Great advice. Okay, what was the best advice, parenting advice you got from your dad? My dad believed in, I guess that's where being well-rounded, you know, education, exposing them to things outside of Houston, Texas. Mm-hmm. Okay, so exposure and education. What was the hardest period, meaning a time frame, of motherhood for you? I would have to say the hardest part was the going from a child to an adult. Because as a parent, and if you know me, you know I could be a little controlling, a little possessive, and it was trying to let go as a mother, being in control and allowing them to be who they are.
Okay. And I know I said I wanted to come back to when you say a challenging part. I don't know if you want to talk about what happened with Chaz or not, because I know that's a part of your parenting journey. So I don't know if you don't want to. It's
probably, it's strange you asking me about that, because often I get compliments from people, you know, who are giving me kudos for being a good mom. And for those who don't know, I'll let you tell the story. What happened to her? Because you were there.
Okay, the reason I wanted Sam to talk about a challenge, because I personally know that her daughter went through a very traumatic car accident.
8 years ago.
8 years ago? It seems like it's been longer. She went through a traumatic car accident 8 years ago, and I saw firsthand her as a mother and how she had to deal with just a plethora of things that would happen when someone was in a bad car accident. You wouldn't even imagine. So a lot of things Sam went through, I know it had to be challenging. I saw the stress, I saw the pain, I saw the tears, I saw the frustration, I saw all of those things. I wasn't sure if you wanted to talk about that in your interview. That's why I said I wanted to double back when we talked about challenges, because I know you faced a lot of challenges. So do you want to talk a little bit about the challenges that you faced dealing with an adult child that was in an accident as a parent? How did you have to navigate through all of that?
The first thing I did, and it sounds so cliche-ish, is that I trusted God. I trusted God and I trusted the process. I believe that once I prayed and I asked God to keep her, because as you remember, they didn't know if she was going to make it. And once I got the confirmation from God that she was going to make it, I continued to just pray, trust God, and no matter what I saw, I held on to the fact that He was going to keep her.
Okay.
Now, you were there. For those who don't know Gwen, she don't like you to cry on her clothes, and don't let anything come out your nose, because she on the floor. But Gwen allowed me to cry and do all that stuff on her clothes that she reminded me of.
Later, not during that time. It was a little bit later. I was very sensitive about that.
She was. But just knowing that no matter what the doctors told me, no matter what I saw, I just had to trust God. And I felt like I was on a praying end. You know, Chaz was going through it, but I was on the praying end. And once I had prayed and felt like God had heard me and had answered me, at that point I knew that I just had to go through it. It was just a process and I had to go through it. And one of the things, and I think I told you about it, I asked God, if you decide to take her, that I knew that to be absent from us is to be present with Him. Okay. But I wanted her to be here with us, and I wanted her to be well. And I knew that if He said yes, either way we were going to be okay. And so once I knew which direction we were going in, I knew to I told God that the one thing I would never do is I would never waver in my faith.
Okay.
I was tested almost every second of the day for the first 2 months with that one. But I never wavered. I knew that God had answered my prayer and that He was going to make Chaz whole.
Okay.
And so no matter what they said, no matter what I saw, I trusted that everything would be okay. Okay. And 8 years later, we are so much further than where we are. We still have a ways to go as a parent, because you were present for my 49th birthday when we did the pole dance, and y'all should have seen Gwen on the pole and her mama.
That's too much information. That's not a part of the Mother's Day interview. This is going to be a blooper.
So, at that point in my life, I was like, this is, pre-50 and empty nester. It was going to be my time to just be, I was going to be wild. Ain't no telling what I wasn't going to do.
Okay.
But I guess God had something else for me. And as a result, now I'm a 24-hour caregiver because Chaz can't be left alone. I don't, my life sometimes I feel is not my life. There are parties I want to attend, events I want to go to, things I want to do just, if it's just doing nothing.
Right.
I no longer have that luxury because Chaz requires 24/7. And as a single parent, it's all on me.
Okay.
But I'm grateful, I'm happy, I'm thankful, and at the end of the day, my life is a lot more richer than it was 8 years ago. As a result to this tragic or horrific accident.
Okay.
And the one thing that I learned is that when people go through, I guess as a parent, when you see your child going through everything that she went through, knowing that there was nothing in this world you could do to ease the pain. But one of the things that was one of the most rewarding, and maybe that's a little selfish, but I remember when Chaz was in that semi-comatose state, not responding. The only person she would respond to was me. And even though she wasn't opening her eyes and she wasn't talking, we could look at the monitor and tell her heartbeat, and we knew that she knew I was there. She knew when I was present. And that made the journey worth the while. And to me, it came natural. Sometimes I'm mystified, like, why are you thanking me or giving me compliments on being a mom, which is what I would think everybody would do to make the adjustment in my lifestyle. That wasn't a question. I'm going to do whatever I need to do. And it wasn't just for Chaz, but I would do the same thing for Pat too. As a parent, we love our children unconditionally, and we want to see them succeed. And for me, if that meant me adjusting my lifestyle, adjusting my schedule, so be it. I didn't think twice about it, and I have no regrets.
Okay, well, I thank you for going into depth about what happened with Chaz. And again, I wasn't sure if she wanted to talk about that because I know what she went through firsthand because I saw it, and I know how devastating it was. So I wasn't sure if she wanted to talk about it. So I thank you for talking about it. But by saying that, and you say you had 2 children, when all of this was going on with your daughter, did you notice if it affected your son in any way as you're parenting your son, even though they were both adults?
No. Well, what I did was I remembered that I had 2 children.
Okay.
And so to me, it was important that, we tell our children to trust God. Well, one of the things where I had to, show strong, and not just in front of people, but all the time, because my son was watching. I wanted to make sure that my talk and my walk were lined up.
Okay.
And so I didn't want to sound like a hypocrite. I wanted to, let my son know that when we go through something, that we can trust God, and that he'll see us through, that, to cry is not to give up. It's not hopelessness, that we can have feelings and we can still trust God, And I constantly reminded my son that I loved him and I needed him, and that we were a team. Again, as a single parent, I relied on my son a lot.
Do you think it helped make the bond a little bit stronger with Patrick as you were going through everything with Chaz?
Yes.
Okay.
And as a parent of a son, a mother as a son, it was comforting to know that there were times when I needed to leave the hospital, and I didn't want to leave her alone. And my son would come and say, "Mama, go home, get you some rest. I'm gonna stay."
Right. And I remember that.
that was reassuring to me, the bond and the love between my son and I, knowing that together we were pulling to help another one.
Okay. All righty. Well, I'm going to keep moving forward with my questions, but she went into a lot of detail, and I thank you for that. What was or is the hardest part about being a mother?
The hardest part is when you wonder if what you have instilled in your children, what you've taught them, if it's sticking, if they got it, are they going to do it? Will they follow through? Mm-hmm. Trusting what you've taught them to work for them in today's society.
And I can understand that as a parent. I fully get exactly what you said. I had that conversation with AJ yesterday, so I get it. I understand that. All righty. How important was it for you to have your family support along your parental journey?
Very important, because even I look really, really young. I'm really old-fashioned, and I believe that it takes a village to raise a child.
Okay.
So my family's support, their input was very important to me.
Okay. What was your relationship with your own parents like, with your mom?
And for those who know me and know my mom, we are sometimes like oil and water. We talk every day. Sometimes we talk 5 and 6 times a day. And some days we fight 5 and 6 times a day. We have this running joke. As you can see, I have a little gray here. And I'm in my 50s. Well, I'm 57. I'm not ashamed of that. And my mom is 75, about to be 76. And the joke is, my mom, I have more gray hair than mama.
Okay.
That's because she running everybody crazy, including me. So, I mean, but I love her. I wouldn't trade her for the world. I can say that as my mom get older, I treasure each and every moment with her.
Right, and I can understand that. Yeah, I can understand that, and I can agree with that. What was your relationship like with your dad?
Well, when I was growing up, my mom and my dad were not together, but I had several stepfathers, and I have one in particular, Daddy, we call Daddy, who were there during the growing years. And Daddy provided that stability, that strong family life, you know. Daddy took me to my first daughter, father-daughter dance at Northwood. Those from the north side knew about Northwood Middle School, the special events group. And every year they had this Valentine's Day ball. And for my 6th grade, Daddy took me, and I'll never forget. I don't know if I got Daddy in trouble or not, because the women were all over Daddy. You know, when I went back to school on Monday, you know, teachers were talking, you know. But Daddy provided that during my growing up years. And then later on, there's Joe. Now, Joe is my heart, you know. Joe and I connect on so many levels. I mean, he's there for me. He's been there for me. We laugh at the same jokes.
And just to be clear, Joe is one of your stepdads.
Right.
Okay.
Like I said, Mama is the one that was running everybody crazy. But today, Joe and I have a great relationship. He's a great grandfather. He's a perfect example of blood don't make you daddy.
Okay.
You know.
So the relationships that you had with your real dad, your stepdad, and your mom is how you kind of set the foundation for your own family, that stability, the togetherness, the village. Okay. Right. Thinking retrospectively, what's the one thing that you would have done differently as a parent?
I would have whooped that too, but more. No, what would I have done different? I wouldn't have spoiled my kids as much as I did. I think we made it look easy. You know, I think we gave them so much, and not only did we give them a lot, but we made it look really, really, really easy. Okay. And the truth of the matter is that really wasn't reality.
And so would you say that affected either or as they grew up into young adults?
Yeah, because it wasn't as easy as they thought it was, or as easy as we made it.
Appeared to be.
Appeared to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have any regrets in your life regarding parenting?
Yeah. People of the A through Z.
Oh Lord.
No, if I had to do it all over again, the thing that I would say I resent or regret the most, my husband and I divorced when Patu was in the 9th grade and Chaz was in the 12th. And I really, if there was anything I could have changed, that would have been to keep that family together. You know, even though there was, I think, circumstances that were out of my control, the thing that I resent most or regret most is not being able to keep our family unit together until at least the kids were out of school.
What is the best advice you can give a mom that has small children?
Say what you mean and mean what you say. I mean, you can't say, if you do that, I'm going to do this, and they do that, and you do something different.
Okay, so consistency and keeping your word.
Right.
Okay, follow through.
Follow through.
Follow through.
Follow through. Even if it means you can't go to that party you wanted to go to. You know, like you can't go anywhere, you know, because you did something.
Okay.
But now that they can't go anywhere, I mean, you can't go anywhere either.
Okay. So even though your follow through may affect you, you have to make sure you just stand firm on what it was that you were saying to the child. Okay. I just had an interview yesterday, and that was one of the things that she said she wished she would have done, was stay more firm on what she said, just follow through and stay firm. So I can understand that. And what is the best advice you can give to a mom during the tough teenage years?
Get you some knee pads. Pray, 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 and pray. And keep them away from the McDonald's French fries, because I think that's the problem. They got something in the fries at McDonald's.
Okay. We may have to cut that out, because I don't need McDonald's saying nothing about my video.
I love McDonald's fries.
No, I'm just kidding. But okay, so you're saying just pray. Is it anything in specific? Because if you were talking to a parent with a teenage mom, talking to a mom with a teenage kid, you're telling them to pray. And I know prayer covers all things, but is there anything specifically you would say in those teenage years that she needs to be praying for her children?
I think as a parent, we have an idea of what we want our kids to do, or what they should be doing and shouldn't be doing. I would think, try talking to them, and not talking to them to get them to understand what you're saying, but to talk to them to find out why they feel a certain way. Okay. You know, find out how they're feeling, you know, and not just how they're feeling, but why they feel the way that they do.
Okay. And I think as a parent, sometimes we miss the mark right there.
Yeah.
Exactly what you just said, especially in those years, teenage years, like from 12, 13 through 19. I think we miss the mark. And I say we because I have 2 adult sons, so I can put myself in that same group. I think we miss the mark right there, when we should be trying to find out why they're feeling the way that they're feeling versus making them see things through our lens. Right. So with that, I can definitely agree with that. What's the best advice you can give a parent that have adult children?
I'm still trying to figure that one out. No, it's strange you should ask me that question, because just the other day my son called me and he said, Mom, I just want you to know that I love you. Mm-hmm. And I know sometimes you think I'm not listening, but I do listen. Mm-hmm. And, thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you for talking to me, and thank you for listening. And so with that being said, I would say, listen.
Okay.
Listen. Because a lot of times they already have the answers. They already know what to do. And sometimes they just need someone to hear them out,
or possibly reassurance.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so just listen to them. Just listen to them. Remind them that there's no such thing as a perfect life. Mm-hmm. And that we all make mistakes. We all fall down, but you don't stay down. You get up. And that right or wrong, we love them. Mm-hmm. And that even when they make the wrong decisions, we don't condone what they did, but we still love them. Okay. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I'm mad at you, and what you did was not right, but it has no bearing or effect on my love for you.
Okay, and so that's what you're saying you would tell an adult, someone that has an adult child, to kind of follow that, stay in that vein, what you just said.
And again, that vein, and I guess the same thing with that would be that as adult parents, don't let anyone separate you from your children. Mm-hmm. And let them know that, even though I didn't like your decision, I still love you. Mm-hmm. I'm still mom, and I'm still going to be here,
That's powerful.
Hey, you're talking to Samantha.
This the Sam I know.
Y'all, she got me all nervous doing this.
Okay, so the very last question is, what's the best part about being a mom?
Oh my God. I could go on for days.
Okay, well, we only have about 3 more minutes, so
okay.
We're going to have to make
So the best part is when I see my children smiling and I see them happy, mm-hmm. and just enjoying life, mm-hmm. As a parent, that's what I want for my children. I want them to be happy. Okay. That conceited part of me also like the part when they say stuff like, thank you, Mama. You said that was going to happen, or like, thanks, Mom, you were right. I love that part when they can say, you were right, but I can truthfully say, I just, I get great joy just seeing a simple smile on my children's face.
Okay, and with that being said, this is the end of our interview. I want to thank Samantha for taking the time out to come and sharing her story, Mother's Day 2022.